Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to Sloka Day. Today's Sloka number 75 of chapter 18. Vyasa prasadachrutavan
Vyasa prasadachrutavan
etat guhyamaham param
etad guhyam aham param
yogam yogeshwarat krishnat
yogam yogeshwarat krishnat
sakshat kathayatah swayam.
sakshat kathayatah swayam.
Word for word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Vyasa Prasadat.
Vyasa prasadat,
By the mercy of Vyasadeva.
by the mercy of Vyasadeva.
Shrutavan.
Shrutavan,
Have heard.
have heard.
Etat.
Etat,
This.
this.
Guhyam.
Guhyam,
Confidential.
confidential.
Aham.
Aha, aham,
I.
Param,
The Supreme.
the supreme.
Yogam.
Mysticism.
Yoga Ishvarat.
Yoga Ishwarat.
From the master of all mysticism.
From the master of all mysticism.
Krishnat.
Vishnat.
From Krishna. Sakshat.
Sakshat.
Directly. Kathayataha. Speaking. Swayam. Personally. Translation. By the mercy of Vyasa, I have heard these most confidential talks. Directly from the master of all mysticism. Krishna. Who was speaking personally to Arjuna. So Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad Gita, all the yoga systems, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga are explained. Krishna is the master of all such mysticism. It is to be understood, however, that as Arjuna was fortunate enough to understand Krishna directly, so by the grace of Vyasa, Sanjaya was also able to hear Krishna directly. Actually, there is no difference between hearing directly from Krishna and hearing directly from Krishna via a bona fide spiritual master like Vyasa. So the spiritual master is the representative of Vyasadeva also. Therefore, according to the Vedic system, on the birthday of the spiritual master, the disciples conduct the ceremony called Vyasa Puja. Vyasa was the spiritual master of Sanjaya. And Sanjaya admits that it was by Vyasa's mercy that he could understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This means that one has to understand Krishna not directly, but through the medium of the spiritual master. The spiritual master is the transparent medium, although it is true that the experience is still direct. This is the mystery of the disciplic succession. When the spiritual master is bona fide, then one can hear Bhagavad Gita directly as Arjuna. There are many mystics and yogis all over the world, but Krishna is the master of all yoga systems. Krishna's instruction is explicitly stated in Bhagavad Gita, surrender unto Krishna. One who does so is the topmost yogi. This is confirmed in the last verse of the 6th chapter, Yoginam api sarvesham. Narada is the direct disciple of Krishna and the spiritual master of Vyasa. Therefore, Vyasa is as bona fide as Arjuna because he comes in the disciplic succession. And Sanjaya is the direct disciple of Vyasa. Therefore, by the grace of Vyasa, Sanjaya's senses were purified and he could see and hear Krishna directly. One who directly hears Krishna can understand this confidential knowledge. If one does not come to the disciplic succession, he cannot hear Krishna. Therefore, his knowledge is always imperfect, at least as far as understanding Bhagavad Gita is concerned. So Prabhupada is essentially making a point that hearing from a bona fide spiritual master is as good as hearing directly from the lips of the Lord, because the bona fide spiritual master is the physical representative of Krishna in the material world. So in that sense, there is no difference between the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord. Therefore, Sakshat Haritvena Samasta Shastre. We sing in the Guru Ashtakam every day that there is no difference between Guru and Krishna. Guru represents Krishna, and Krishna sends Guru for us to fetch us and connect us back with him. Sri Krishna Dvaipayan Vyasadeva, also known as Sage Vedavyas, was the spiritual master of Sanjaya. So actual name of Vyasadeva is Krishna Dvaipayan. Vyasadeva is actually a title. By the grace of his guru, Sanjaya had been blessed with the power of clairvoyance. Clairvoyance means being able to see things that are happening in a different place. To know all that transpired on the battleground of Kurukshetra while he sat in the royal palace of Hastinapur. Here, Sanjaya acknowledges it was by his guru's mercy that he got the opportunity to hear the supreme science of yoga from the Lord of Yoga himself, Sri Krishna. Vedavyas, the author of the Brahma Sutras, Puranas, Mahabharata, etc., was a descension of God and possessed all the clairvoyant powers himself. So not only Sanjaya had the clairvoyant powers because of the mercy of Vyasadeva, Vyasadeva himself had these powers. Thus, he not only heard the conversation between Sri Krishna and Arjuna, but also the one between Sanjaya and Dhritarashtra. Thereby, he included both conversations while compiling the Bhagavad Gita. So that's very nice. So Sanjaya could hear Krishna and Arjuna speaking. Vedavyas could hear Krishna and Arjuna speak, and he could also hear Sanjaya and Dhritarashtra having their conversation perhaps. Therefore, he included both in the Bhagavad Gita. Vyasa prasadat sruchavan, shrutavan. By the mercy of Srila Vyasadeva, I have heard. It was not only vision, but the comprehension that was provided. So this is very important to understand. His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu is saying, it is not only the vision, right? Because you have to explain what is going on in the battlefield. So that means you can't explain unless you have somewhat comprehended. So comprehension was also provided due to the causeless mercy of Srila Vyasadeva to Sanjaya. Sanjaya was not only able to see what is happening in the battlefield, but he was also able to understand it. So he said, Etat guhya aham param. He is using the same word that Krishna has used in 18.64. That Lord Krishna, who is Yogeshwara, he has spoken to himself. How wonderful it is. It is very rare for Lord to appear, and it is very rare for Lord to speak philosophy so eloquently and systematically. And even rarer is to hear directly. So Sanjaya has also heard it at the same time, which is rare, and therefore he has that good fortune. So if you see, when the Lord appears in his multifarious avatars, as Narsimhadev or Vamanadev, he doesn't speak much. He doesn't give philosophy. He just comes, finishes the demons, protects his devotees, and then he's gone. So this is the avatar where the Lord is speaking directly about transcendental science, so which is very rare. Srila Prabhupada has explained that just as Sanjaya has got the message, we can also get the message if we hear from the lips of Guru or Acharya. Suppose patients get the right medicine but don't value it, or suppose they value it but don't take it. Either way, they continue suffering. So sometimes patients are given prescriptions and medicines. They may not value it, or they may take certain things in different ways, what they want, what they don't want, etc. So either which way, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu is saying they are suffering. They suffer if they don't value the medicine, and they suffer if they don't take it as per the prescription. That means you should have faith that the medicine will work. If you don't have faith, that means you don't value it. These two pitfalls correspond to the absence of the two dimensions of gratitude. as an emotion and as an action. When we get something precious, we need to feel grateful and count our blessing. And we need to act gratefully by using it and thus making our blessing count. All of us are sick with spiritual amnesia, wherein we forget our spiritual identity as eternal souls and suffer the miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death. So, spiritual amnesia is forgetting the Supreme One, forgetting that we have a connection with the Supreme One. Of course, our amnesia may be very severe or very light, depending on Guru's mercy and so many other factors. To cure our amnesia, Gita wisdom offers the therapy of Bhakti Yoga, centered on cultivating devotional remembrance of Krishna. So the therapy is to hear about Krishna, which is interesting, even in the medical amnesia cases, they say the patient can still hear and remember, but they may not be completely aware of who they are. When we get the opportunity to remember Krishna by, say, chanting his names, we unfortunately don't feel grateful or don't act gratefully. Either we neglect chanting, for we mistake it to be a mere cultural ritual, or we value it for the egoistic satisfaction derived by preaching its greatness. So we focus on intellectually proving its glory without cultivating Krishna's remembrance ourselves. And this is actually what Prabhupada actually warns us. There are many people who comment on the Bhagavad Gita, but they actually don't follow the instructions of the Lord. So if they're not following the instructions of the Lord, then their commentary is just an intellectual exercise. It's not a spiritual exercise. Sanjaya exemplifies both the emotion and the action of gratitude. His grateful feelings are evident in his recollection of his spiritual mentor, Vyasadeva, whose mercy enabled him to hear the Gita. They are also manifest in his effusive appreciation of the Gita's messages: wonderful, adbhutam, ecstatic, romaharshanam, and most confidential, param guhyam. And his grateful actions are evident in his immediately becoming absorbed in remembering Krishna in the subsequent verses. So gratitude is a quality of a devotee who understands what a precious gift he's been given. In this case, Sanjaya has heard directly the conversation between the Supreme Lord and his dear beloved disciple Arjuna. Therefore, through that process, he himself was remembering Krishna. When we value each opportunity to remember Krishna, we count our blessings. And when we use each such opportunity to cultivate Krishna consciousness, we make our blessings count. One is valuing the ability for us to remember Krishna. Two is, because of our remembrance, we then continue to cultivate our Krishna consciousness. That's like a double blessing. One is valuing Krishna's presence in our life. And two is actually using that blessing to cultivate Krishna consciousness. By such grateful practice of Bhakti Yoga, we gradually transcend material miseries till we finally transcend material existence entirely. So some of us may feel very frustrated that we're not making progress, or our mindset is not in the right place, or we may be still absorbed in so many materialistic activities, or we are actually practicing Krishna consciousness so that we get our material desires fulfilled. None of these things actually really matter. What matters is that you follow the process. When the results will actually transpire and make you completely, eternally grateful, that's between you and Krishna and your spiritual master. So that manifestation of gratefulness means you acknowledge your own weakness, and at the same time, you rejoice in your good fortune that you're able to practice Krishna consciousness. So we should not doubt the process of practicing Krishna consciousness. So it's a very important commentary for us. how we should eternally value that we've been given this medicine by our dear Srila Prabhupada. We should accept this medicine and we should take it in the doses that Prabhupada has requested us to do through his various instructions. So just gratitude alone is good enough for us to make progress on the spiritual path. If you have gratitude, then you have no room for anything else but gratitude. If you have gratitude, you will not complain. You will not complain about your blessings. So that is true gratitude, isn't it? Gratitude is knowing that you don't deserve what you got, but still you're happy that you received it. And because you're happy that you received it, you do your best to pay back. Although Prabhupada says one can never pay back the acharyas, one can never pay back the spiritual master, you do your best to return what you best can to your spiritual master. And what is your spiritual master asking actually? That you faithfully follow the instructions of the spiritual master and do your bit to bring others to Krishna consciousness. By doing these two things, not only spiritual master, but Krishna himself will be satisfied. So essentially, here Sanjaya is expressing his gratitude to his spiritual master and also expressing the ecstatic feelings as a result of hearing these divine words from the lips of Lord Krishna being spoken to Arjuna.
If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.